Samir Modi, MD of Modi Enterprise and the founder of 24/7. Samir, thank you so much for speaking to us on Startup Street. Let me jump straight to the big question and get that out of the way. Talk to us about the impact of COVID on your business and tell us if you saw any surge in footfalls considering that people were going back to basics.
I think that we were taken aback when the lockdown happened, and that had a great impact on the supply chain. So what happened was that all of a sudden there were no goods available, and we saw people going towards commercial items they could use every day, eggs, essential items. And now we're seeing that because of that and supply chain disruption, our sales fell down by 50%.
Okay, but were you seeing an increase in the footfall? So you were saying that you were not able to match the demand because your supply chains were disrupted. Was that the problem on ground?
Yes, it's becoming better now because we had to reinvent our supply chain. We had to go into direct delivery to store. We had to go into neighborhood places warehousing where we could supply to our stores, as well as we had to go to consolidators who had some stock and they could supply to us. But what happened was customers fell down by 50%, but at the same time the bill value doubled. So or it evened out more or less.
Okay.
And I
it
wish
eventually evened out. Now the COVID crisis. Go ahead, Samir.
So I wish that we had been given a little bit more warning on the lockdown. If we had given more warning to lockdown manufacturers and the chains like us and the grocers would have been more well prepared that this is happening. Let's stock up. Let's do things so consumers can get what they want. And initial few days, we found that the lines were almost a kilometer long. And with the social distancing norm, people were waiting for 3 to 4 hours. So that became a challenging nightmare for us with limited opening hours at the same time. And because of this, coupled with blockades for people coming in, so our store staff fell down to almost 30% of our strength. So we're managing 90% of our stores with 30% strength. So it was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare, which thankfully is getting better for you guys. And of course, the ask that you wish that you got a warning of sorts was something that that a lot of companies have said. But of course, there are constraints for why that could not have happened. But Samir, what I was coming to was the fact that COVID-19 crisis and the lockdown actually forced several companies from different sectors to relook at their day-to-day operations. The fact that you said that you were operating 90% of your stores with 30% of your staff meant that you had to reinvent yourself. So talk to us about some of the changes that you brought about at 24/7. And the business model, or just your simply everyday operations?
So one is that we innovated our supply chain. We were originally warehouse-led. We went into direct-to-store. We created sub-warehouses so that we could ensure smoother supplies. And we de-risked our existing supply. That's one change we brought. The second change we brought really was on how we interact with the customers. With the lockdown happening, with the social distance norm happening, we made circles on the floor that could give the 3 meters distance between one customer to another. But at the same time, the pressure increased simply because we had to. Customers were desperate. They wanted the goods that we had and the goods that we didn't have. So I mean, I've been visiting stores ever since the lockdown, and it's amazing how I find these guys, the store guys of 24/7, as the heroes. They put their families first, and they just been there doing this nation a service. So we had to change that. We had to change.
Absolutely. These are the guys. Yes, these are the guys who've been working on the front line, Samir, and the fact that you've highlighted that is definitely true. They had to be patient. They were working on ground during the lockdown, during a pandemic. But Samir, since we're a little short on time, let me, we'll continue talking about 24/7. But let me quickly also focus on your other vertical of Modi Enterprises, which is Color Bar. So while 24/7 was up and running in whatever way and form, because it fell in the essential services category. Operations for Calabar would have hit a complete standstill. What was the impact on this non-essential side of your enterprise? If you can quickly highlight that for us.
I mean, with Calabar, we were actually zero. And we had to run government draws, pay our 1,800 beauty advisors, we had to pay our entire staff. And other Modi enterprises, we are a very caring organization. So we don't believe in letting go of anyone. And the impact of that has been tremendous on the bottom line and on our ability to survive. That all of a sudden the brand is growing. March was a big month. Sales went down to zero toward the end of March. Sales are zero currently. Very, very little sales are happening on the internet. E-commerce companies are shut down. So overall, it's almost like our legs and hands are cut off. You know, we are just left in the cold. And in other countries that I've seen, that there's a lot of support for manufacturers and marketers in terms of government paying the salaries. Nothing came our way. So we are just stuck. We're stuck dead in the water.
Okay. While you say that nothing's come your way, of course, we've been hearing a lot of measures being announced by the finance minister. Anything that were announced that you think would be beneficial for you, Samir, and for the Modi enterprise at this point?
I think that the benefit that the government has announced, one is the 10% PF going down from 12%. Right. The government has announced other measures of de-risking the essential category and adding more goods into that will have an effect long term. Short term, it doesn't has any effect on 24/7 because we don't manufacture any goods. But Modi Care, my company, other company, Modi Care, definitely has a greater impact because we manufacture 450 items. So I'll be able to see a tremendous effort there.
All right, Samir. So lots of verticals for you to manage right there. And of course, you said that the first few days were an absolute nightmare. But thank you so much, Samir, for sharing those details with us. We will, of course, catch up with you in a couple of weeks to just check in and find out how things have gotten better for 24/7. At this point, I would now like to also bring in our next guest, Kunal Kumar, CEO and MD